How effective can freedom of speech be with our position with the public? How effective can freedom of speech be with our position with the public? Your 3 minutes starts now.
This is a good one. Islam. So as far as freedom of speech, as far as Moorish Americans to the public, I think it's a great thing. Islam, and I don't see any level that a Moorish American is going to be held back when given this most beautiful and powerful message that our Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us to spread to not only our people but to the world. Islam, when you tell somebody that you believe in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and not hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, and theft, it's a lot of hate out here in these streets. Islam, but when you step out in these streets and you telling your people that you love them, our people want to be loved more. Islam, not only our people, all people want to be loved. It's a lot of hate out here. Islam, when somebody sees you living the life, see, the Prophet said he wanted to see us living the life. Islam, see, when you live the life of a Moorish American, the Prophet said we ought to act by words and deeds, Mo. That's what we act by, words and deeds, not noise of lips. Islam, see, there's a lot of people out there in different organizations, different religions, whatever their situation, but it's just noise of lips. You got to go out here and touch your people. You got to take this message. The Prophet told us that Jesus was the message that he brought. Islam. So likewise, each one of us as Moorish Americans, we got to be the message that we bring to the people. See, if the people see you being a hypocrite, if the people see you not doing the job, why they gonna come in here? But when you look around, you see all these fezes, you see all these turbans, you see all the temples growing. You know why? Because we free to be ourselves. For the first time in many, many years, we're free to be ourselves. Just like I was telling some Moors earlier, and then I'm gonna get off the mic. Islam, you know why people turned out to go see Black Panther, the movie? They went to see that movie because it's the first time in ages, even though they going to church, even though they Jehovah's Witnesses, even though they Muslims, whatever they are, Islam, they got to put on turbans, they got to put on dashikis, they got to see a nation that look like them, Islam. That's what they want. And that's what the Prophet gave us to give to the people. Peace.
Islam. MSTA, I'm going to ask that same question. How effective can freedom of speech be with our position with the public? And I think the word that pops out to me is effective.
Yes. Effective.
3 minutes starts now.
Love. Our people need love. We got a lot of hatred in us. And so the Prophet came with the perfect message. Teach nationality and divine creed, to call our people to Islam, to give them something, because our people are looking for something. They want to be a part of something. They reaching. They want to be a part of something, and they're willing to do anything to be a part of it. Spend their money, their time, and energy, even if it's the wrong thing. They doing it. They already doing it. You see them in social media. They doing it. So freedom of speech and being able to tell our people, you're not Negro, Black, colored, or Ethiopian, and that you had a prophet that came here and to teach nationality and divine creed, and to be proud of yourself is a great message, for our people, and to have freedom of speech to be able to do that, Peace.
Islam. Rodney Whitehall, I'm sorry.
Rodney L is fine. That's okay.
Islam.
Same thing.
I'm going to do more of
My
an
last
emphasis
name
of position for you.
Okay.
Because a lot of people listening, they don't understand that word and how it pertains to Moorish science.
Okay.
So when we read this question, think about that word position as you elaborate on the rest. How effective can freedom of speech be with our position with the public? And your 3 minutes starts now.
Islam. Praise Allah, the Prophet. Our position is to uplift fallen humanity. We teach nationality and divine creed. So social media is a good platform to increase and extend the learning, because we can reach people. You remember when Jesus was at Bihar, they say thousands of people heard about his words of truth and they followed him. There's no social media there. But when we're on social media representing the prophet and telling the people what the prophet said, and by example showing that we are the message that we bring and we're a reflection of that, we can reach so many people. And not only that, we can clear up a lot of confusion about the Moorish Science of America. Because you got a lot of people who believe that the temple is on Facebook, that you get your nationality card on the internet. We have our own learning system through Amexem. We have our own website, search engine where you can find temples. So it's a matter of our speech being dedicated towards promoting the prophet's program on social media. And yes, socializing with our people, because the prophet gives us a way that we can improve our condition, so we can speak better, so we can interact and socialize better, right? So it is a good thing if it is being used to the edification of the prophet and to the benefit of the Moorish Science of America.
Islam. Last, Samuel, for this segment.
Yes.
Public. You kind of touch on that really good, but if you can give us one major dire description of the public at this state that we're in, or for not just our people, but the whole scope. When you hear the word public as you answer the question, how effective can freedom of speech be with opposition with the public?
With the public. How does the public look at the Moorish Science Temple of America? How does it? From you all's perspective, the audience, do they look in a favorable way towards us? Or do you believe they will look favorable towards us? To say what the public sees and understands of the Moorish Science Temple of America is all over the place. You know, it's being blessed by Spring Council, the minister, of placing me as a Grand Sheik, and growing through the years. Man, it's a gigantic mission. The public sees us in all forms and fashions. They look at us as a fantasy of some sorts to remove the cares of the world from them. But the prophet says, let old business be your old business and do everything in your new name. I want the public to understand one thing about us. That we believe in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice 24/7, 7/11, all time, every time. There's no question or doubt. We're going to judge man not by what we see, but what he does. It's your actions and your deeds. We want the public to understand that we're not just going to come up with some form of fashion that we just don't like you. No, we don't just like you. We love you, but we love you according to what the prophet has given us. See, one of the things that the prophet said that I would like to introduce to the public is something that was given unto me and is given to others before me, is that when you give them the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, it says this is the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe. It is to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Now let me tell you something. Everybody wants to be with God. Even the little baby in the world, when they come into the world, they crying for God. They ain't crying for mom and daddy, but in the image that God has given, the blessing that the child has been given, they've been given mommy and daddy to represent God. So when the public looks at God, they see God. See, what man does for man, he does for who? God. What man honors man, he honors God. So the public needs to see God, and we need to keep on giving them God without no doubt or contradiction. Thank you.
Islam. We're almost done. We have two more questions. How can freedom of speech help or not help us? And as I read that, to keep us really specific, because we're listening, millions of people are looking at this, and we have to try to narrow down and get specific on their need when we're answering on this question. How can freedom of speech help or not help us? If you want to take a stance on one or the other, that's even great too. So how can it help us, one person? How can it not help us, another person? So you don't have to do both. And you want to start with Jackson Bay, and your 3 minutes starts now.
Islam. So I'm gonna talk about how freedom of speech cannot help us. Islam,